Wednesday morning, that means it's Picayune Wednesday. And once again in our studio this morning is the editor of the Picayune, Daniel Clifton, everybody.
Hey, morning, everybody. How you doing?
We're doing good. Good to see you again. We're here to talk about this week's edition of the Picayune. You should find it on your doorsteps. But if it's not there, listen at the end of the interview, and Daniel will tell you how to steal yours.
That's right.
That's what he said last week.
Yeah, but I hope nobody got in trouble for that.
Hey, let's talk about this week's edition. First of all, a great story on the front page there of the Picayune called Badges of Honor. We hear so much lately about law enforcement, and there's some folks that are pro, but a lot, it seems like there's more that are against the police nowadays than ever before. But this Badge of Honor is kind of a celebration to show your support for our law officers, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's you hear a lot of negative things about the law enforcement recently, and I don't know if that's probably not a majority of people, because the rest of us kind of, we do our things, enjoy, live our days.
Especially in this area. I think
and so this is a program called See You at the Station, and what we're asking, or what the organizer asking is folks to gather 6 o'clock on the 30th, next Wednesday, at Wallace-Riddell Park, named after a longtime Burnet County Sheriff. So it makes sense.
Appropriate.
And just wear blue, bring signs saying thank you for the officers and law enforcement. There'll be a bunch of law enforcement officers there too. And it's not just to come out and say hi, or I mean, not just something to raise your sign, but they also want folks to stay and mingle with the officers and learn about them in both ways, and also support the families of these police officers and law enforcement officers. Right.
So it's a great thing they're doing. Badges of Honor. You can read all about it in this week's edition of the Picayune. Of course, everybody knows that the Burnet Fire Department and EMS lost someone last Friday night with that accident. Daniel Hampton gave up his life, father of 4. And there's also a story in this week's edition about the Marble Falls EMS and 2 officers that we've lost there that I guess have been around forever, right?
Yeah. Jerome Davis and Foy Petty were 2 of the original guys that helped start the Marble Falls area EMS in the 70s or something, and I didn't realize this, but back then, when you called to go to the ambulance or a hospital, it was the local
funeral home
showed up in a hearse. Now that would be kind of scary.
That would be a bad way to ride to the hospital, if you ask me.
That would be kind of scary. Yeah. So the Mr. Foy, Mr. Davis, and Mr. Davis's wife at that time, started the groundwork for what would become the Marble Falls area EMS. They were very instrumental. They took it on themselves. They volunteered to take the training, and then they trained people to be EMTs, paramedics, and it's kind of how it started. Pretty amazing.
And they're no longer with us, and is there going to be some sort of celebration of the history of EMS, or what's happening?
At this point, no. I think Mr. Davis's funeral was last weekend. I forgot when Mr. Petty's was.
Okay.
But it was just a little thing. They both passed away almost within a few days of each other. So it's kind of ironic.
Read all about it in this week's edition of the Picayune. And, of course, this Friday night, everybody's excited in Burnet because the Bulldogs, the big homecoming game coming up.
Finally come back home after 3 weeks on the road, too. I think those folks are tired of traveling. But, it's homecoming week for Burnet. Thursday night, we got the parade at 6:30. I'll check that date, but check the time. 6:30 downtown Burnet.
Right on the square, right?
Right on the square.
Yeah.
Right on the square. And this, if you haven't been to this homecoming parade, it's one of the largest parades in the area, I think.
It's awesome.
It's huge.
The whole marching band comes out. It's a great way. You really feel the school spirit and everything. It's a lot of fun.
It's like 50. I think they've got like 50 floats and trailers and groups signed up. It rivals probably the Bluebonnet Fest parade.
Wow.
If it's not bigger, it's pretty. It's right in there.
All right.
I love to
it's
see
right
the whole
in
community come together like that.
And they pack the square. Get early if you want to get nearby, because otherwise you have to elbow through there.
Yeah, and then Friday night they're taking on Taylor, and so it's going to be packed there.
Yeah.
Kay's going to be out there handing out book bags from KBEY.
Are you on the homecoming court? Are you the queen?
Well, they offered,
anything.
but I turned down the crown. Wanted to give the younger kids a chance.
So those in Burnet, read all about the celebrations for homecoming week there in this week's edition of the Picayune. Available on your doorsteps this morning, but if you're not getting yours, tell them how to go about doing that.
Call 830-693-7152 and ask to get on the route.
And remember, as always, the Picayune is
free.
Daniel Clifton, everybody.